My father hasn't left the basement in 2 months. I now know the horrifying reason why. After my mom died, my dad would spend hours in his room rotting away in his bed. Then it progressed to what he started doing in the basement. Trying to talk to him was useless, but looking back, I wish I tried to help him before he slipped into insanity. The first time I saw my dad slip down into the basement was when he was carrying a notebook and a mannequin. I tried questioning him about it, but the only response I received was a half mumble before he shut the door behind him. I shrugged it off, as I assumed he was finally embracing a hobby to cope, but I began thinking otherwise really fast. When a few days passed without seeing him emerge, I knew something was going on. I tried opening the door, but it was locked. No matter how much I knocked or even called his cell, he completely ignored me. Eventually, my brain started making assumptions about what was really going on down there. About a month into him being isolated, I started to wake up to him screaming as if he were being tortured long into the night. I knew at that point that he was completely losing his mind. Disgusting stenches I couldn't identify began filling the house. Looking back now, I don't know why I didn't call anyone, tell anyone, or ask for help, but deep down, I just wanted my dad to get better on his own. I didn't want anyone to know that my dad was acting like a freak. As the second month of this behavior approached, his screams turned into whimpers and pleads. I was now worried that something far more sinister was taking place, and I knew that I couldn't sit back and let my father destroy himself any further. Although I was scared about entering his space, I knew I had to save my dad. On a Friday, when I was coming back from school, I could hear my father manically laughing and decided it was time to break down the door. Using a wrench from one of my dad's toolboxes, I managed to crack the wood frame, making it easy to push it open. The second I did, a disgusting whiff of what I could only guess was rotting flesh wafted heavily into my face. I feared for the worst as I began making my way down the stairs. There was only one light on, and it was a small lamp in the corner that was barely illuminating its surroundings. The surroundings included the mannequin, now looking more strange than it ever did, tools scattered on the floor, and my father hunched over in the corner. For a second, I felt a little bit of relief since it looked like this was all just an arts and crafts project, but my gut knew that there was something else going on. "Dad?" I finally said it after the longest few seconds of my life. My father began to slowly turn his body towards me, or at least what was left of it. Several bandages wrapped my father's limbs. Parts that hadn't been covered yet revealed deep wounds where his skin had been removed. My father's screaming during the night has now started to make sense. Not paying attention to my own body, my foot missed the next step on the staircase, and I tumbled down onto the basement floor. Immediately, I pushed myself up against the wall, doing my best to keep my distance from my dad. "Dad, what have you done?" My dad grinned wide to reveal that not only did he have missing patches of skin, but he also had missing teeth. I stared past him and back at the mannequin and quickly realized where my dad's skin and teeth had gone. He was attaching them to the mannequin. "She doesn't have to be dead." My father's voice was hoarse and rough. "Using my own skin, there's enough to share. There's enough for your mom. She doesn't have to be gone." The stench was now causing my stomach to stir, and I had to concentrate to not throw up. "No, Dad, she's gone. You have to let her go. You have to move on." My dad's smile faded. "That's what you think. That's what you want, isn't it?" My dad began standing up, pieces of flesh dripping off of him as he did. I could now see his body in full, looking like a half-decayed skeleton. "You came just in time, daughter. I'm running out of flesh for your mother. I could use some of yours." I shook my head. "Dad, please don't do this." "Don't worry," he said, slowly inching towards me. I don't know why I couldn't move, but it was as if my muscles were too frightened to listen to me. "This only hurts for a second," he said, raising a cheese wire slicer to my face. "The pain is no worse than the loss in our hearts already.